Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. We're live here at Adventure Unknown in our new offices. So if you're in the St. Louis area, you haven't been to Adventure Unknown, or maybe it's been a while, I would love to show you not just this new office space where we're hosting the Builders of Authority podcast, but all of the amazing things that we have here at Adventure Unknown. A lot of new amenities coming, a lot of great people. We crossed 100 members. And so if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a networking individual and looking for a great community here in the St. Louis area, I would love to have you around. So send me a message. Today, I'm genuinely excited about this episode and this conversation because I get to sit down with someone who's not just become a fellow AU member, but also a friend over the last couple of years, Kira Anderson. Kira and I cross paths through our work on the board at Adventure Unknown, where we both also host podcasts here under the umbrella with TrueLine Media Group. Over the last several months especially, we've had the chance to meet quite a bit, talking about all the updates that are coming to the club, but getting to know her better and even on a deeper level. And the more I learned about her story, the more I become to admire the person she is today and the way she shows up in the world. Kira is a mom of 3 young kids, a health and wellness coach with over a decade in the space, a marathon runner, and a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. But beyond the credentials and accomplishments, Kira is somebody who has walked through one of the hardest things a person can walk through. In April of 2023, she lost her husband to stage 4 pancreatic cancer after a 17-month battle, leaving her to raise 3 young children on her own. And what she has done with that pain, in my opinion, makes her one of the most inspiring people that I've ever met. She's become a patient advocate, a cancer research fundraiser, a podcast host, a speaker, who helps other people understand just how precious life actually is. She's somebody that I look up to, someone whose resilience challenges me, and somebody I think you're all going to learn a lot from today. So Kira, welcome to the show.
Wow. Thank you. What an introduction. Thank you.
Well, I meant every word of it. So.
Oh, well, it's an honor to be here.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So last day of school for the kiddos.
It is.
Summer break is coming, or lack thereof.
It is. Yes. It is wild. This year went really fast.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming in. Why don't you tell people a little bit, just kind of, I know I shared, a little bit, but tell people, who you are, all the things you have going on.
Yeah, we have a lot going on. So, born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska. Went to school in Missouri randomly at Missouri State.
Okay.
They had a good business school. We had friends going there, and it's a long story, but ended up there and had a great college career there. Then moved to California, was in medical sales for 10 years. Moved back, met my husband, moved to St. Louis because he worked for Edward Jones.
Okay.
And our family life started. We got pregnant right away. I literally left everything I knew to come here. I left my career. I was starting a business in Nebraska. I just bought a condo, all the things when I met my husband. So there was a drastic turn of events. Mm-hmm. Moved to St. Louis. Like I said, we got pregnant with our first right away. When she was 9 months old, Edward Jones asked us to move to Toronto. Yes. Wow. I had severe postpartum anxiety with my first. Neither one of us have family here.
Yeah.
And so when they asked us to move to Toronto, I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
But yes was the answer, of course. Yeah. And moved to Toronto, had an amazing time. Got pregnant with our second up there, came back, had her. 9 months later, found out we were pregnant with our third, a boy. And then all of Dane's first year, our son's first year of life, Kyle didn't feel well. He was sick, had some digestive issues, and we just chalked it up to, stress, maybe something he was eating. We didn't know. So we tried all the things, did all the things. And when Dane was 11 months old, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And so stage 4 pancreatic cancer. By the time we found it, it was everywhere. The tumor had grown from the tail of his pancreas, wrapped arms around his colon. He had spots on his liver and his lung, all along his peritoneum, which is, basically your stomach lining. Mm-hmm. And there it was, I can't even, the most life-changing moment of our life when they told us it was, he had cancer. So from then on, it's been wild. You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, and I just want to say here, never once did we think cancer. My husband, on the way to my husband was a little bit of a hypochondriac. So, we didn't put this off. Like, we did go to the doctor, we did get blood work done, and nothing, no signs of cancer. Right.
Wow.
But on the way to the hospital, we finally decided it's time to go to the hospital because he couldn't pass anything up or down. And all of a sudden he vomited one night, and I was like, enough's enough. And again, the kids were 4 years old, 2 years old, and 11 months old. Wow. So life was chaos. And so finally we're like, all right, we need to go to the ER. So we went to the ER the next morning, and on the way, Kyle was like, do you think I have stomach cancer? And I'm like, no, honey, you don't have stomach cancer. Yeah. This is not, just a blockage of some sort. Well, we get there and they do the scan, and came back, who knows, a couple hours later. Time is, I have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, it's all, a lot of it is a blur. But they came back in and said, you have some tumors and it looks like cancer. And I was like, come on. And I was in medical sales for 10 years. So I'm like, no. Let's do a biopsy. It's probably benign. Yeah. And she just was like, no, we're pretty sure it's cancer.
Wow. I can't even imagine.
No, and I hope you don't ever have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's, we went into complete shock, and they had to put tubes into Kyle immediately because he was full of all that. I mean, just had to drain him. And I went screaming into the hallway. They had to come calm me down because you just lose it. Yeah. I know I kept saying, like, we have babies. Like, there's no way we have babies. And from then on, it was a wild 17 months. Yeah, they had to go put a stent in his colon because, as I mentioned, the tumor had wrapped around his colon, which, come to find out, I just interviewed Kyle's researcher just the other day on my podcast, and apparently that happens with pancreatic cancer frequently. Yeah. So, there's so much to it. I don't know where you want to go from there, but.
Yeah. Well, kind of diving through a lot of that stuff, you mentioned kind of the first reaction, right? Of like, oh my gosh, we have little ones. This can't be real. Like, I'm sure looking back on it, right? Once you kind of were able to kind of say, okay, hey, we have to tackle this. I know that's kind of part of the story where you were like, hey, we started to go and find new medications and things like that. Let's kind of go through kind of what the process was a little bit about that, and kind of what has led to a lot of the work that you're, of course, doing today as well.
Of course. So right away, like I said, they had to put tubes to drain him. We were just basically in keep Kyle alive mode. Yeah. Because it was, some people die within weeks of diagnosis. Wow. Oh yeah, with pancreatic cancer, because oftentimes pancreatic cancer is not found until it's stage 4. Okay. It's metastasized to another organ because there are no symptoms when it's just on your pancreas. So if it's caught by accident, it can be caught early stage, but most of the time it's stage 4. The prognosis is not good. And it used to be older individuals, and it's creeping younger and younger. GI cancers on as a whole are on the rise. Okay, and of course, all of this I've learned, after the fact. But anyway, they had to put a stent in his colon, which was a very risky procedure. Thank God we are here at Siteman in St. Louis, one of the leading cancer research hospitals. We're really lucky to have them here. Yeah. All right, smack in the Midwest. Just there are so many God winks throughout our story too, Adam, that, the fact that we're here in St. Louis and, Siteman is a drive away. So anywho, we went to the hospital, and Dr. Lim was able to find a surgeon that was willing to go and put a stent in Kyle's colon, because it's really risky, because your colon is, soft tissue. And if they perforate it, it's over. Yeah. Sepsis, it's over. So found one guy that was willing to do it, and he did it, and it worked. Wow. So praise God, we were able to, get him drained, get him back, operating for about a week, and we did one round of chemo in the hospital, and then we were to go home for a week, and then we were able to see Dr. Lim, who is not easy to get into. He only sees patients on Thursdays.
Oh, wow.
But he is one of the leading researchers in the pancreatic cancer space. Kyle decided he wanted to go to Montana to see his family. He's from a small town in Dillon, Montana. And he wanted to go see his family that week before he really started this aggressive chemo. And I'm, whatever you want, honey. So we took a flight out, brought all the kids, out to spend time with his family. We rented a big place and everyone stayed. While we were there, after a few days, he started having severe stomach pain again. Like excruciating pain, like he did before. So we rushed to the emergency room in Bozeman, and his sister is a doctor, so luckily we got in right away. And they did an X-ray, and it revealed that the tumor had, again, wrapped around his colon. Oh my gosh. So we had to take an emergency flight back to St. Louis, because no one in Bozeman, Montana was, skilled, trained, enough to do that. Yeah. So back to St. Louis, and that same doctor came in and put another stent in. And then we were in the hospital, I don't even know how long. But it's a whirlwind. So then we were able to see Dr. Lim and his team, and Dr. Lim just said, we're going to do this. We're going to give him standard of care treatment. There's only 2 standard of care treatments for pancreatic cancer right now. One is FOLFIRINOX, a chemo regimen, and the other is Gemzar Abraxane. I can never say it. So that's important because pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest. It affects a small subset of patients. So there isn't a lot of research being done.
Sure.
There aren't a lot of researchers wanting to study that disease because it used to be in older generations and the prognosis was not good. And so new researchers are going to other cancers, the 4 breast, lung, brain, can't remember. There's 4 main ones, but anywho, so there's only 2 standard care regimens, and less than 32% of patients respond to the first FOLFIRINOX, and even less than that respond to the second. Wow. So we start FOLFIRINOX, and by the way, I never believed that Kyle was going to die. I'm like, there's no way God is going to, first of all, Kyle and I were older when we got married. We met each other. We were both established in our careers. We both were baked as humans. Neither one of us had been married before, no children, and God put us together, and it worked. If we fell in love. And so I'm like, no way God is going to give me this man, these children so easily. We had no problems getting pregnant, and I'm very sensitive to that because I have a lot of friends who struggled and try really hard to have children. We didn't even have to blink. Pregnant, boom, boom, boom. So there's no way God gave me this, and he's just going to take him away. I just didn't, in my heart, I didn't believe it. And so, FOLFIRINOX, we did a couple rounds or a couple months of that, and Kyle had a mixed response. That means some of his tumors grew and some shrank, but his tumor marker continued to go up. So that's an indication that it's not, the cancer learns the treatment. So even if it was stable, eventually the cancer learns the treatment. So we had to move to option B, Gemzar Abraxane. And I remember looking at Dr. Lim and saying, well, what else is there? What's option C, D, E, F? What's next? And he's like, honestly, Kira, there's not much. Based on Kyle, how weak he was and how advanced his cancer was, he wasn't eligible for surgery or immunotherapy. And I'm like, there has to be something else. And he's like, well, there's some things in labs right now that are being studied. One study or trial in particular that is completely eradicating the cancer in the mice. All 14 mice every time we run the study. And I'm like, okay, great. How do we get that from lab to human? And again, I knew enough from my pharmaceutical and medical device days to be dangerous. Okay. So he's like, well, we've already submitted to the FDA several times, and they've pushed back for very minuscule things. The data was impressive. But we have to remember the FDA, less than 1% of their budget goes towards cancer research funding. And of the leg of the government that sends that money out is called the NIH, National Institute of Health, and it's less than 7% of their budget goes to cancer research. So it's not very much money. They push back a lot. Back when Kyle was diagnosed and battling, 1 in 10 grants submitted to the NIH were granted. So that would be Dr. Lim, a researcher, submitting to the NIH for money for their study. Not the whole study, just some money to keep their lab open and keep going. Now it's 1 in 20. They only look at these studies 3 times a year. So it's not enough. I will tell you right now, there are a lot of really promising treatments in labs right now waiting for funding, waiting. Meanwhile, people are dying of cancer.
Well, so not to cut you off, but so I was medical device sales as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I sold CPAP equipment. But before that, I was in chemical and reagent sales.
Okay.
So I would actually sell luciferin that was used to do all the testing on mice.
No kidding.
Yeah, for cancer research. And then I'm a
Wild.
type 1 diabetic. And so they were also doing the diabetes stuff. So I have that background too, where we used to sell our products to NIH, and then they would get the grants. And it was a crazy, you would go into those labs and you'd hear all this stuff. Cause I'd always ask about the diabetes stuff. And then my grandma passed away from cancer too. And so it was just crazy how much stuff was getting stuck. And you're cause literally people were like, hey, this can solve diabetes and all this stuff. I'm like, I'll be the test,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was just crazy. So that's a real problem. I mean, it's a huge thing.
Huge problem. I have so much to say about that, but I'll continue with this study.
Sorry,
but I do, no, please. And what kind of cancer did your grandma have?
So she had lung cancer.
I'm so sorry. Cancer is the devil. And there's so much to say about that. So anywho, Dr. Lim was sharing this with me, and I'm like, okay, well, and essentially he then said, money is the problem. We need funding. And I'm like, okay, great. How much? And he's like, Kira, you guys need to focus on Kyle. And I'm like, how much? And he's like, well, to run a phase 1 study of about 50 to 60 patients, it's about $3 million. And so I looked him in the eyes and I said, I'm going to find you $3 million. And of course he's like, Kira, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, but I do. We are fighting for our life.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to find $3 million. So I opened a fund right away. Kyle continue with the treatment, the second line of treatment. And mind you, I do want people to know that it was not a pretty battle. I'm able to talk about it now, but during the treatment, we were in and out of the hospital, blood transfusions. He was on TPN for a long time, which is liquid nutrition through his arm, a PICC line. He had tubes draining. We had to drain tubes. He was in bed a lot of the time, or we were in the hospital. So anywho, started that study, contacted every pancreatic cancer organization I could find, anybody that had anything to do with pancreatic cancer, current patients, families of patients that have passed, anybody and everybody. And one day, I don't know, a few weeks later, his sister sent me the published article talking about this trial that Dr. Lim, was doing. And so I was reading the trial and reading the study, and at the bottom it had the name of the manufacturers of the drugs, obviously. And so I looked at, I looked further into that and what we needed. So what this trial was, so Dr. Lim kind of looks at pancreatic cancer differently. He believes that the inflammation around the cancer cell is what we need to reduce to allow chemo to work better and immunotherapy to work. So we were looking at an inhibitor. He's studying an inhibitor. Now this treatment had been working in other cancers. We were looking to study it in pancreatic cancer. So the maker of that inhibitor, there were 2 companies, Aclaris Pharmaceuticals and Curis Pharmaceuticals. And so I put on my social media, does anybody know anybody that works at Aclaris Pharmaceuticals? Well, someone that I worked with and I volunteered with, so we volunteered together. So I mentioned that because we spent time together. Like, what are the odds this man I forget where he lives. And I had a personal connection through our job, through volunteering, sent me the name and number of the CEO and president of that company.
Wow.
Dr. Neil Walker. So I call Dr. Neil Walker's cell phone. I leave a message. He calls me shortly after, tell him the whole story. My husband's young. He's 47 years old. We have a young family. We have a lot of life to live. And he says, well, have you heard of compassionate use treatment? And I'm like, yes. So compassionate use treatment is the right to try, basically, where a researcher, if they have a promising study in a lab, they can use it as a Hail Mary with their patient if nothing else works.
Okay.
So I'm like, I've heard of it, but in my mind, I'm thinking red tape, right?
Yeah,
the NIH, FDA, putting a study of one. Like, I'm like, that's going to take time. Well, pancreatic cancer oftentimes moves quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking time is of the essence. We don't have time for that. I'm like, Dr. Walker, I just need that inhibitor in my husband ASAP. And he's like, well, I meet with my board on Monday. If I can get a unanimous yes from my board, then we'll allow Dr. Lim to use that into Kyle, that inhibitor to Kyle. So I go online, and I figure out who's on his board. The number 2 on his board is someone I worked under that same company that gentleman. So I called Bill Humphreys, and I say, probably don't even remember who I am. I only worked for you guys for 2 years. And he's like, oh, I remember who you are, whatever. Tell him the story. And he's like, I'm going to do everything I can, everything in my power to get those people to say yes, the board. So shortly thereafter, and in the meantime, Dr. Neil Walker called Dr. Lim and was like, this woman's coming after you. I don't really know. Coming after us. I don't know what he said. Dr. Lim called the other company, Curis, to tell him what was happening. Shortly thereafter, both companies said yes, that we could use the inhibitor.
Wow.
So then Dr. Lim's running around, creating a study of one. Merck said yes, allowed us to use their product. Compassionate use Keytruda, and then, Gemzar, Abraxane, the chemo company as well. So then Dr. Lim creates a study of one, submits it to WashU because he's a physician of WashU, right? WashU says no. And I'm like, I remember Dr. Lim calling me because we're all excited. We're like, Kyle's going to get it. This is amazing.
This is there.
He's excited. This is going to be into. And I'm like, who said no? And he's like, I can't really tell you. And I'm like, okay. So I go online, figure out who it is that approves or denies these type of studies. I call his office. I'm not able to talk to him, but I talked to his receptionist and any nurse that would talk to me. I told him the story. I said, I need him to change his mind. What are his clinic days? I'm going to go sit at his office because he was still seeing patients. So they gave me his clinic location and hours. I also wrote him an email with our picture and our story. I printed it all off. I was going to go leave it at his doorstep because I Googled his address. And I was planning to go sit in his office, because doctors are humans.
Yeah.
And we know that because we worked everybody knows that, but we got to know our clients and realize they're humans too.
Yes.
So I wanted this human to look at me and tell me why he wouldn't help me keep my human alive.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, hopefully, other patients.
Yeah.
So Dr. Lim called him back. Again, I don't know what was said. And he changed his mind.
Oh, wow.
He said yes.
Awesome.
So then it was on.
Yeah.
So then he submits it to, the FDA. They approve it. And we get into Kyle shortly thereafter. Here's the thing. It started to work. So his tumor marker was super high. I don't even remember the numbers, maybe 70. I don't really know. So we got that in the spring. It continued to plummet as Kyle was able to get the treatment. So what it did in the mice, it was doing in Kyle. We were elated. Kyle started to feel better. He got stronger. He was getting up out of bed. He was going on walks. Wow. Kind of a cool story in the middle of that is Kyle's from a small town in Montana. He's one of 4. He has 2 sisters and a brother. His older brother runs the family ranch now. They have like 800 cattle. It's wild. Well, his son, so Kyle lived in Dillon his whole life, except for going to college for a little bit and coming back, was super close, right? Well, his nephew, Troy Anderson, was drafted that year, 2022, into the NFL, second round, number 58. Wow. My husband was, that's all he talked about. It's all he focused on. It's kept him going. Yeah. So he got to live. I truly believe God gave us an extra year, so for a number of reasons, but one of which he was able to see Troy get drafted. And then we got to go to a couple of his games. He was strong enough for us to fly to Atlanta to go to a couple of his rookie games. And Troy won rookie defensive player of the year or something. You know what I mean? Just had a phenomenal year. And And we also took our kids to Disneyland. You mentioned going to Disney World. He wanted to see kids at Disney the first time, you know. And by the way, I'm like, told you, this guy's not going to die. We beat it. So by the end of the year, his cancer was non-active. Yeah, there were no visible signs of tumors. His tumor marker was so low, they considered it non-active, no evidence of disease. So I have pictures of my kids holding up signs that say cancer-free. And we were like, all right, what's next? What do you want to do, babe? You want to go back to work? Are we going to go travel? You want to retire? What's next? So we traveled over the holidays, saw our families, came back home. So he was diagnosed October of 2021. 2022 was, you know, the year he got the treatment. And so this was the beginning of 2023. And unfortunately, because he had so many rounds of chemo, his body was, you know, extremely compromised. And he wasn't as strong, you know, he was stronger, but still, you know, it's chemo really takes it out of you. And so he started to get sick after treatments where we'd end up back in the hospital for weeks at a time. And so we'd have to push chemo back, push treatment back. And so that happened for the next few months, and we just kept having to push the treatment back, and the cancer started going back. And finally in April, it was the end of March, we went to Florida, actually. We love going to Florida. And I just remember, I mean, his belly was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and he was in pain and in bed most of the time. And we came back home, we had to go right into the, you know, emergency room again, and he was blocked again. And they wouldn't put another stint in. And then, you know, he was in the hospital, and things just started going real south. And the anesthesiologist was the one that was like, we're not able to put him under, to put another drain or stint, and so that was it. The beginning of April 3rd, 2023. I'm
so sorry.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it was a wild time, wild ride. So, yeah, that was it. And then we continued. So, yeah, I don't know where you want me to go from there, but we, you know, my kids, you know, we were in therapy right away, and we were at the Evelyn's Houses where Kyle was in hospice, which is an amazing organization, and they treated our family really well. And so we continued in therapy, and I continued to fundraise. So a lot of widows will tell you that for sure you're in shock, most definitely. You know, you're trying to figure out what just happened. Finish up the final death paperwork. I mean, all of the planning a funeral, picking out a casket. My 48-year-old husband, my dad came with me for all of that. I'm like, how do I decide what casket and what to put on his tombstone and where to bury him? So we ended up burying him in Montana, and his brother found the design for the casket. And so, yeah, that next year we just mourned, and, you know, I was absolutely floating. You know, we were in survival mode, and I continued to raise funds and awareness. I think looking back, a lot of it was, you know, not wanting to process what had just happened. So raised, well, a year and a half later, we would raise $2 million in Kyle's name. Yeah, we did. I did a huge fundraiser and a couple fundraisers with some other gals that were close with, you know, had pancreatic cancer and their families, and which was amazing because that money went right to Dr. Lim, and he was able to put patients in the study that Kyle was in. So that happened. Everyone, you know, it was awesome. In Kyle's name, it's called the Andersen study, you know, and it gave me purpose, right? And I kept going. But at the end of 2024, after we hit that around 2 million mark, I was like, okay, I think I need to breathe a minute, slow down. I had started my podcast, had joined Adventure Unknown, and I took a little breather. Well, 2025, anxiety and depression came in like a freight train. Yeah, I had severe anxiety that turned into severe depression. We don't have family here. We have hired help, and I do have friends that helped, but a lot of widows will tell you that second year is when reality hits. And I had done everything. I mean, I'm talking, you know, psychiatrist, support groups, therapy, trying to process with other people. And it was awful. So I pulled out of everything. I stopped fundraising. I paused my podcast. I wasn't around here much. And I got several treatments for depression and finally came out of it at the end of 2025 and decided, okay, 2026, I was feeling like myself again for the first time in years. And so started the podcast back up, decided to do more fundraising. Only this time I'm like, I don't think I'm going to do this by myself this time. And not that I did it by myself last time. Obviously, a lot of amazing people contributed and helped. But I was like, I'm going to link arms with other people that are affected by pancreatic cancer to continue to move the needle so it doesn't feel all on me.
Yeah.
And so we launched another campaign April 3rd this year, 2026, to raise another $1 million. It was Kyle's 3rd anniversary, and it's the final third of the $3 million that I told Dr. Lim I'd find him, and so we're off and running. Yeah.
Incredible.
Wild, but yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that. So much to take away from that, and again, really like how precious life actually is. And I think it's so, as entrepreneurs, busy people, you forget until something reminds you.
Yeah, it is precious, and that's the thing. We're all busy doing all sorts of things, and never did I think cancer would affect my family.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take my husband or affect my family, and it did, and it happens. It does, and I was talking with another widow recently, cancer widow, and we talked about really like dramatic things. It's not if they're going to happen to you, it's when.
Yeah.
All of us go through something of some sort, and some people multiple big, tragedy hits their family in multiple ways, and it's really about getting through it and knowing that we're not alone and that life is precious. Every day we really need to take advantage of the time because we are not promised tomorrow. And people say that, but when something happens and it hits that close to home, you realize it's no joke. We only have today, and it also makes you think, what am I on this earth to do?
Yeah.
What is my purpose? What's my calling? God has blessed us with so many things, but what does he want us to do with it?
Yeah.
Right? So my relationship with God has, I've gotten closer, I'm stronger in my faith, and I'm really just allowing him to lead. It takes the pressure off of me, and he's opening doors and he's moving mountains, and I'm just like, okay, whatever you say, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
So tell people a little bit about your podcast, and then
Yeah.
obviously also like where people can follow you, donate for the
Yes.
fundraiser, all of that stuff as well. Talk to us a little bit about those things.
Yes, and by the way, thank you for donating. You've donated to the
course,
fund, and
of
so
course.
it means a lot.
Happy to do it.
So so my podcast is called Yes We Can. I started it at the end of 2024, and the reason I started it was to allow people to create a platform for people to share their stories and let other people know that they're not alone. That yes, we can endure hard things and we can get through it and do something with it. And so I have people on who have, not just cancer related. Yes, a lot of my guests are cancer patients, cancer survivors. I've had oncologists on, but I also have people on who have had extreme weight loss or, lost their child to a heart defect, and it is really cathartic, and it's healing for me and for them. And my hope is that people watching also, it heals some of them and inspires people and makes people think about life differently. And again, know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
So we are on all podcast platforms. Like you said earlier, Trueline is our producing company. Josh is our producer, who we love, and sitting right here. And we are live Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's live on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then on Thursdays at 3 p.m. the episode drops, and it's on all the platforms that you can ever imagine. So yeah, I would love people to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, follow, send any of the podcasts that they feel would touch other people. Please send it. To donate on my Instagram page, my Instagram is The Essentials by Kira. I have a link where people can donate to the fund. It's a Siteman donor link. Would love anybody to donate. We also have a QR code I can send out, and every dollar matters. Every single dollar matters. It is a write-off, of course, and you can use your donor advised funds as well. And so that's where people can donate. And I also have a Team Kyle for Pedal the Cause. So we do a bike race at the end of September that raises money for general cancer research. So if people like biking or want to do something, action-wise, bike or spin, I invite people to join Team Kyle and help fundraise that way. Now those fundraising dollars go to a general cancer fund that Dr. Lim does get money from often. But the fund that I have, the campaign I just started goes right into Dr. Lim's lab. He can add patients as money comes in.
Wow.
So we don't have to wait for the $1 million.
Yeah.
And I want to mention here, Kyle's treatment. First of all, it's called the Kyle Regimen, Kyle Anderson Regimen, and it's in about 30 to 40 other patients right now, and it's working. It's completely eradicating the stage 4 cancer in some of the pancreatic cancer patients, most of the stomach cancer patients, and it's also in colorectal cancer patients now. And it stabilized the disease for about half of them, and then there are only a few non-responders, and that is incredible for stage 4 GI cancers. Wow. So when you donate to a lab like that, you know that your money is literally saving lives as we speak.
Yeah.
Not to take away from those bigger organizations. Yeah. You just can't really directly see where it goes. This fund you can, and I'll update you. You can DM me at any time. Dr. Lim and I are in contact, weekly a lot. So would appreciate anybody who would be willing to donate.
Yeah.
It would be amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. It's been great getting to know you, and I appreciate you sharing your story and just being like I said, somebody that I look up to with your resiliency and how you've turned this all into just an incredible, so many different things. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. And thank you so much for listening or watching to today's podcast. We'll put all that stuff in the show notes so that way you can follow the podcast and also learn more about the fundraisers and make sure to stay connected with Kira. Like I said, she's doing some amazing, amazing things. And so it's really cool to watch her and just see everything take off. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to the show on YouTube or the podcasting platform of your choice. Share this content on social media so more people can find out about the show, learn from it, etc. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. And remember, authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.